What's happening, traders? I hope you are good. I want to go over to the whiteboard again. This will basically frame the rest of this video, all right? And I guess that word frame is kind of fitting as well for what I'm about to discuss. Now, over the past few weeks, I have set myself up in a frame of thinking. And in this frame, I have had a certain picture. Okay. It's the only picture that I have been seeing. Okay. And even when the market is doing this, this is the frame that I keep on seeing. Now, if the market is doing this and my frame is doing this, it's not going to be profitable. And when you have framed something, okay, that frame is set in your mind space. And when you take that frame to a consistently shifting market, it's not going to be profitable. So let's just go over to the charts right now. So here we are on GJ, and I had this frame of like 124, and obviously we was in a weekly area of demand, which I can honestly say that I basically ignored because I saw this massive ass wick and I thought this had potential to go down to that and past that and hit 124. So I was kind of ignoring this, even though the weekly area of demand was clearly in my face. And I basically was always pushing for a short, always pushing for a short. And it's just come to my awareness after going back through my notes how silly that was. And now it's like I'm retracing my behavior over the past weeks, over the past few weeks, and seeing this from my notes and then matching my notes and how that mapped to my behavior. It was never going to work out for me, right? Yes, I did make some good shorts, but I missed out on a hell of a run. And no, this run isn't finished yet, because if this weekly plays out, then we've got a large way to go, okay, where we can snag some pips, right? But my frame and what I pictured was so definitive and set, and the bias that I had is what caused me missing out on, a large part of this run. Now, I have actually defined the moment where the market shifted and what I should have been paying attention to, but I didn't at the time. And it was when this H4 zone occurred, right? So as you know, from a previous video, I caught this H4 short, okay? And I caught this H4 short down to this area here. And it took me out on a 15-minute event break, right? But what happened here? This H4 zone here actually held up price. This right here was the shift in the market structure. And because of my frame and my picture, I missed this. And not only that, I missed multiple opportunities on maybe H1 frames as well, H1 time frame, to actually get in this trade. Multiple opportunities, because I'm thinking now, the short isn't available, but yet still the market's moving to the upside. So I had to think about this and sit with this and try to come to some sort of answer as to why this is occurring. And the main thing that kept on popping up for me is the frame and the bias that I set for myself. When you create a frame and a picture goes in that frame, that's the picture. And as traders, we can't have a definitive frame, because if we do, we're not going to be flexible enough to shift when the market shifts. So what I really want you to get from this video today is, as supply and demand traders, bias and trend really is of no consequence. And I really am going to start paying attention to how I actually frame those words and use those words in certain ways when I'm creating videos to you guys, because I've dished out the advice and told people that you should trade from zone to zone, and I'm not even taking my own advice. And it's really something that I'm going to pay attention to in the future, that trading zone to zone, it does really make things easier, because you don't have to worry about trend and you don't even necessarily have to have a bias. As we can see here, we've got the market moving to the downside. It's left a really nice engulfing structure. We can see here that this is pretty clear. When the market then comes back into this zone, we then play a 15-minute event break, and then we play it down to the next H4 zone. Right? And yes, it's all good looking at this in hindsight, right? But this is actually how I should be trading. This is how, as supply and demand traders, we should be trading. Yes, we can potentially, take some profit off here and then see where the market goes and that's take us out. That's fine also. But then the stress of maybe taking this and then maybe waiting for larger frames to play out, and you're not just playing for the zone, you're trying to see if it goes for that zone, or the market begins to shift, then you're not being aware of the shift, just like I missed the shift in the market structure with this H4 zone here, because my frame was, I want to go short. It's just going to lead to frustration, and it's going to lead to your mindset being a bit disillusioned about supply and demand trading, about the event chain and so forth. But supply and demand trading, I really, really want to make sure that I continue this in the future and just make sure that this is going from zone to zone. So if I'm trading dailies, I'm trading from zone to zone. If I'm trading H4, I'm trading from zone to zone. If I'm trading H1s, I'm trading from zone to zone. If you're trading H5s, you're trading from zone to zone, right? Because it just takes away that tension. Because the distance that it's got to travel. You're aware that it's gone in with all white candles, so it can make it down there easily. And you understand that, if it does go past that, then that's fine also. You've taken your chunk of change. You've completed the process and you've won. And completing the process is the most important thing. But, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy that I allowed my frame and my picture to totally sidetrack me from what was actually happening in the market. So I want you guys to learn from this. And if you have found yourself making the same mistake and just keep on, you've created a frame in your mind, and even though the market's doing something else, you're still in that frame. You really need to smash that picture right now. And I am going to make attempts to make sure that I get this through to you guys consistently as much as possible. So, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but it's such a good thing that I have these notes written in my journal, because if I didn't have these notes, I wouldn't be able to go back, look at the past few weeks and really highlight what's been happening and come to you today with this video. And what the notes allow you to do is to go back and look at them, assess the market, and then you can come up with these new frames, these new substructures for yourself, and how to define the market in the way that you see fit. And you'll be able to see the mistakes that you've been making and the thoughts around those mistakes and the thoughts around those zones that you've been taking, and then the behaviors after that have led to wins or losses. So make sure you guys keep up with your trading journal, however you do it, whether it's dictation, whether it's writing, whether it's just creating a video, whether it's taking a snapshot. It doesn't have to be, really how it's done in Notion. Just as long as you take a snapshot of something, write some notes about it somewhere, keep it simple for yourself. So, I hope this video has really been helpful to some of you. I know maybe some of you, it may just go completely over your head and you maybe think, everything's all dandy with you, and that's awesome. But there's probably a few of you out there, who have been in this situation and, have consistently, been going after a certain frame that you have created, and yet still the market is doing the exact opposite and you just can't see it. So it's about awareness. It's about understanding that you're trading from zone to zone, so the shifts in market structure will make themselves more apparent. When zone holds, you're not going to be forcing something to the downside that's actually holding, or forcing something to the upside that's actually holding. And you'll be able to make these shifts in your own mind, and you'll be able to move forward as a more confident, a more accurate, and a more profitable trader. I'll see you in the next video, guys.
A true shinobi does not set out to seek glory. They protect from the shadows. That is the mark of a true ninja.